Good evening to all of you. Our next scientific session is on case-based interpretation of CBC, and I would like to invite a chairperson for this session on stage, Dr. Abhilasha Chaturvedi, a senior gynecologist, Vice President IMA, currently UP IMA Zone 4, Dr. G.V. Rai, senior neurologist, Dr. Manoj Mathur, professor in the Department of Medicine, Motilal Nehru Medical College, Prayagraj.
It's my pleasure to invite Dr. Anshul Gupta for the current session on CBC. Dr. Anshul Gupta is a Director, Department of Hemato-Oncology and Bone Marrow Transplantation, Medanta Hospital, Lucknow. He is ex-professor, Department of Hematology, SGPGI, Lucknow. He has, to his credit, he has successfully performed more than 500 stem cell transplant in children with various hematological disorders. He has received Young Investigator Award IAP for 2 consecutive years and Best Resident Award from National Board of Examination. He has several publications in national and international journal, and his area of interest is pediatric leukemias, hemoglobinopathies, and bleeding disorder. Dr. Anshul Gupta.
So, good evening everyone, and thanks for the kind introduction. And at the outset, I would like to thank the Allahabad Medical Association for inviting me for this talk. And why I was delighted after listening to the topic is that this topic relates to everyone whosoever is present in this hall, be it a surgeon or a physician or a gynecologist or a pediatrician or everyone, and it's useful for everyone. So what I would be speaking in next 25 minutes, I think something or the other you will take home with this talk when I finish the talk. So interpretation of CBC, and one of the basic things when we join our residency program, be it MD or MS, that's the first thing we are being trained as a first year resident. And this is the typical CBC which we see, and as an hematologist, where I divide the CBC into 5 components. So you can see the 5 squares present in this. This is the upper one square, which is mainly relating to the RBC components. The second one is the absolute counts. The third one is the reticulocyte count. Then comes the scatter histogram plots, and then comes the scatter plots. And you can see on the above, this is the various indices, and just I would like to take you through this whole CBC. In fact, many of us in a busy OPD practice usually see the HB, then see the platelet, and then see the WBC, and then we are done with it. That's the CBC we have seen. Of these so many parameters, we just see 3 parameters and we are done it with. If it's an anemia, we refer the patient. If it's the WBC is very low, we then think that it's something hematological. Otherwise, it's all okay. So you can see the WBC count and the uncorrected WBC count. It is basically, there are 2 parameters on the top, and this is basically shows whether the machine which you are using is actually standardized or not. Because if these 2 values are matching, that means that your machine is really validated well, and both the values are matching. Then comes your RBC count, then comes your hemoglobin, and then comes your hematocrit. Actually, in real world scenario, all these 3 things are thought to be synonymous to each other. I mean to say, we see the hemoglobin is really directly proportional to the RBC count, and it is directly proportional to the hematocrit. But in certain situations, we tend to see a discrepancy between all 3 of them, and I shall be discussing in what conditions they usually don't follow each other, and there can be some discrepancies in each of them. Following which, we see the indices, that is the mean corpuscular volume, that is MCV, then comes the MCH, and then comes the mean corpuscular hemoglobin concentration. So these 3 parameters are known as RBC indices. So why these RBC indices are needed? Because it helps us in differentiating the type of anemia if it is present. Whether the RBCs are small, we call it a microcytic anemia. If the RBCs are large, we call it as macrocytic anemia. And if the RBCs are normal in size, we call it the normocytic anemia. And based on this, we divide there is a categorization for all the three different types of anemia. There are different causes for that. And if we are able, we falter at this first step of anemia analysis, then we are surely not going to make an appropriate diagnosis of anemia. Then comes the RDW, that is red cell distribution width, and then comes the platelet, then comes the mean platelet volume. And below this, the B panel shows all the absolute values. The above panel shows it in the percentage form, and the lower panel shows it in the absolute counts, that is the ANC, absolute neutrophilic count, absolute lymphocyte count, absolute monocyte count, and so on. Then third is the reticulocyte count and immature reticulocyte fraction, followed by these histograms of RBCs, platelets, and WBCs. So I shall be, in short, in my next 20 minutes, I shall be just dissecting out these parameters into further detail and how we reached into a diagnosis of each of these. So as I previously told, that the RBC parameters are the first one we see in a CBC report. And these are the parameters: the RBC count, hemoglobin, hematocrit indices, distribution width, and red cell morphology. So all of these parameters are important when we are judging or seeing any CBC report. If we miss out on any of these parameters, then we are making to lose out on some important diagnosis which is really important for the patient. And of course, apart from these parameters, we need to know the history of the patient. The pathologist should be knowing why you are ordering this test. Is there anything which you are thinking in your mind that this should be seen in the CBC report, and the pathologist should be looking for that? That should also be conveyed to the pathologist prior to sending a CBC report. So the forms should be well filled. So these are the steps that has been appropriately, it's a very basic thing, but it has been a very systematic way to read the CBC. And for the RBC parameters, we go in this stepwise fashion. We first see the HB value, then see the MCV, then we see the MCSC, followed by RDW, followed by RBC morphology. And then we correlate whether all these hemoglobin, hematocrit, and RBC count are matching with each other or not. Many a times it so happens that these three parameters are not coherent to each other, and we tend to detect that there is some error or some discrepancy in the study which we have seen. So one basic rule which every one of us have been told from MBBS days is the rule of 3. Rule of 3 means that the RBC count multiplied by 3 is your hemoglobin. Hemoglobin multiplied by 3 is your hematocrit. But this rule is not a gold standard. It's a rough rule. Many a times you get to see this accurately in your CBC reports, but many a times this rule doesn't get satisfied, and there are many conditions like hyperlipidemia, hyperbilirubinemia, hemolysis. So in those CBCs, you are not getting to see this rule to be satisfied, the rule of 3. But definitely, as an elementary, as a beginner, this rule helps us in assessing whether the CBC report which is being shown to you is really accurate or not. So you can just multiply the things and can get. And the second thing is the RBC indices, which I told you. So what is the MCV? MCV is the mean cell volume. RBC का size क्या है? That is the main index that we see, and it can be a microcytic if the MCV is less than 80, or if can be macrocytic if the MCV is more than 100, and whatever lies in between 80 to 100 is the normocytic. So we should be remembering this, which is very basic, because microcytic anemia के causes बहुत common है. One of the commonest is iron deficiency anemia. Second commonest is thalassemia trait or thalassemia. And macrocytic anemia के causes is one of the B12 folate deficiency, alcoholism. These are the common causes which we tend to see in, day out. Then comes your MCH, and MCH depicts the amount of hemoglobin within the RBCs, and it correlates with the MCV. That means that they are directly proportional to each other. If the MCV is going down, the MCH will also go down. If MCV is rising, then the MCH is also rising. So they are quite a sort of a surrogate marker of each other, and they go in the same direction. But the other parameter, this is something important, MCSC, and I will show in my case-based discussion that how MCSC helps in detecting. So it is a mean hemoglobin concentration of the RBCs, and the usual range is 32 to 36. And usually we don't see MCSC above 42. If you are getting an MCSC above 42, then there is something fishy in that CBC report. Be very careful in reading that report. And so, and what it actually tells it the chromia, what is the, whether your RBCs are hypochromic, hypernormochromic or hyperchromic. So it is the mean hemoglobin concentration of the RBCs. For example, if you are seeing a hemolytic anemia patient, so many a times due to hemolysis the RBC turn into spherocytes, and because of those shape change they tend to be looking like a hyperchromic RBCs. उनका MCSC बढ़ा हुआ आता है. Apart from that, in iron deficiency anemia you tend to see a hypochromic, microcytic hypochromic anemia. That is, the hemoglobin content, they look very less, they seem to have very less hemoglobin content. So this is the main difference between among all these three. So just a normal, I have shown a CBC of a normocytic normochromic anemia in this slide, and you can see that this rule of 3 satisfying in this picture, that the HB is 2.2, it is the 3 times of this is 6.6 is the hematocrit, and 3 times of this is 2.2 is the 3 times of RBC count is the hemoglobin. And the indices you can see it is lying between 80 to 100, all the indices, so it is definitely a normocytic. And the RDW is also normal. So anything between 11 to 14 is considered to be a normal red cell distribution width. And what is RDW? I shall be discussing in the next slide. And if you see this microcytic hypochromic picture, then you can see that hemoglobin is 8.9 and MCV is falling much lesser than 80. So it's coming 66. So you can see that the RBCs, you can see the microcytes. So this is the normal RBCs, and these RBCs are slightly looking smaller than what the normal RBC. And the red cell distribution width is increased, that is 19.5. So what is red cell distribution width? The red cell distribution width is what the level of anisocytosis. Anisocytosis means the RBCs कभी भी एक ही size के हमारी bone marrow जो produce करती है RBCs, they are never of the same size. But this heterogeneity among within the size of the RBCs depicts that how much anisocytosis is there. For example, suppose a patient who is having a mixed deficiency, B12 deficiency also, as well as iron deficiency also. We see a lot of patients with dimorphic anemia in our routine practice. Both the deficiencies are present. So, some RBCs would be large in size, some RBCs would be very small in size. So, what happens? The RDW increases drastically, while the MCV remains in the normal range. It would come something about 84, 85. So you will level कि ये तो size तो इसका normal आ रहा है RBC का, but RDW तो बहुत बड़ी हुई है, 22, 23 आ रहा है. So that means that this is quite suggestive of a dimorphic anemia. Just by looking in the indices, you can predict that RDW is getting very splayed out, and the indices are not going that it's not fitting into a microcytic or a macrocytic indices. Then the fourth component is reticulocyte count. Reticulocytes are the immature RBCs, and they indicate the marrow activity. Mainly the reticulocyte reflects that how much is the production capacity of the bone marrow to produce RBCs, that how your bone marrow is responding. So every day in our bone marrow, 1% of the RBCs are dying out in our body, and 1% of the new RBCs are being adding up by the bone marrow. 1% RBCs मरते हैं, 1% हमारी बॉडी ऐड करती है हमारे ब्लड सर्कुलेशन में रेटिकुलोसाइट के थ्रू. So this is the main turnover of the RBCs, and it is usually reflected by polychromasia. If the reticulocyte count is increased, then the pathologist will inform you कि बहुत ज़्यादा polychromasia दिख रहा है हमें peripheral smear में. It looking like the reticulocyte count is increased, and we need to find the absolute reticulocyte count for this patient. So this was the one interesting case that came to me, and I have chosen this case to show you how the discrepancies in the lab and other things. So a 50-year-old man seen in the emergency department with a diagnosis of jaundice. So we saw this CBC, the hemoglobin was 14.5. Can you believe it? But the RBC count is 2.5. It can't happen with an HB of 14.5. How can the RBC count be so low? It should be around 5 million, but it's not showing. It's coming just 2.5. The MCV is going pretty high, 108, and what is something alarming is MCSC, that's going 54%. So definitely, if someone brings this CBC report and you are only seeing this is the RBC, and if you are only seeing the hemoglobin in this report, only HB आपने देखा 14.5 देखा, फिर आपने WBC देखा, वो भी नॉर्मल है, इसमें है नहीं हालांकि, लेकिन WBC देखा वो नॉर्मल है और प्लेटलेट भी नॉर्मल है, तो व्हाट यू विल सी, हाँ तुम्हारा CBC रिपोर्ट नॉर्मल है, जाओ कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. लेकिन नीचे जब मॉर्फोलॉजी में एनाइसोसाइटोसिस था, मैक्रोसाइटोसिस था एंड स्टोमेटोसाइटोसिस था. So when this patient came to me in the OPD and showed me this report, I saw that there is something anomalous in this report. फिर then I asked the nursing staff कि इसका sample जब तुमने लिया था तो कैसा था, how was it? तो she told कि it was slightly milky and it was just like I again collected the sample. मैंने पहले repeat करने के लिए कहा, मैंने कहा कि sample को एक बार लेके आना कैसा है. Then you can see that lipemic sample was there, and then I asked the pathologist to just dilute the sample with saline, 1:5 dilution, and again we did the CBC, and you can see the difference that the hemoglobin from 14.5 came to 8.7, RBC count 2.5, MCV came to 108 and MCNC normalized. It was coming initially more than 50. MCSC more than 50 कभी आ ही नहीं सकता, मतलब बहुत unlikely है except for certain conditions like hemolysis or something. And it normalized and reticulocyte count was also 1.1%. That was quite low. Then I checked with the history of the patient कि ये है क्या. So what I came to know was that this was a 50-year-old man who has been alcoholic for 5 years. And he was also diagnosed with hyperlipidemia, for which he was taking Rosuvas, and he had stopped because of alcoholism. He stopped his medicine for almost an year or so. And a macrocytic anemia was not due to B12 folic deficiency that is frequently seen with alcoholism. And apart from this, one important cheese which important show is the relative reticulocyte count. So with an HB of 8.7, this reticulocyte count is pretty low. So we all know that alcohol is a myelotoxic agent. If someone is taking alcohol, the bone marrow really starts dipping down. The function of the bone marrow gets suppressed. So definitely his bone marrow is also not working well, and that is reflected by the low turnover of the reticulocyte count. And that's led to our diagnosis ki this is the final diagnosis. So just a brief outline of how erythrocyte mature, and you can see that the reticulocyte comes in this stage, that it takes around a day for mature from erythrocytes. So what happens that many a times you see in a CBC report that the pathologists say there are many nucleated RBCs in the peripheral ischemia. So what he means, what the pathologist wants to say that these cells are being poured up into the circulation. So in any case of acute hemolysis, when the bone marrow cannot meet the requirement, that there is sudden drop in the hemoglobin and bone marrow को ये signal मिला है कि RBCs और produce करो, तो what bone marrow does, it start pumping out the nucleated RBCs into the peripheral blood. So you get to see all these nucleated RBCs which should be maturing in the bone marrow in case of non-anemia, they are coming into the peripheral blood. That means that actually there is an acute demand in the production of the marrow, and it usually happens in hemolysis, acute hemolysis. It could be because of any cause. So what happens, the bone marrow starts pouring in all the nucleated RBCs, all the reticulocyte count into the marrow, into the peripheral blood. So this is the second important parameter that we should all be acquainted with, that CBC report without a reticulocyte count is incomplete. Especially when you are dealing with the case of anemia. If you are reflecting, many a times you see that a patient of anemia has been diagnosed, but the reticulocyte count कभी उसका होता ही नहीं है, हम कभी देखते ही नहीं कि reticulocyte count कितना है. And it is a must and mandatory because it tells you that how is your marrow responding to that anemia. So this is the relative count which is practically done with the pathologist, but it has got its own fallacies. For example, एक किसी trauma patient में blood loss हुआ, तो ब्लड लॉस होने के चक्कर में बोन मैरो को ये सिग्नल मिला कि हमें आरबीसी ज़्यादा बनाने हैं एंड वी नीड टू पुश इन मोर रेटिकुलोसाइट इनटू द मैरो, बट उसका हीमोग्लोबिन रिलेटिवली फॉल हो गया है बिकॉज ऑफ द ब्लड लॉस. So what happens if you are just seeing a relative count, then the pathologist will say कि acute blood loss की वजह से इसका reticulocyte high आ रहा है, 8%, 9% आ रहा है. But when you do it and correct it, the corrected reticulocyte, and you take the hematocrit into cognizance, that means that the patient, the total RBC numbers have reduced because of the blood loss, then you get the corrected reti count. So that's the principle why this parameter came into picture, that the corrected reticulocyte count is important and everyone of us should be knowing this. And finally comes the reticulocyte production index, which is somewhat many of us in the non-pathologist background would not be doing this in our clinical practice. In fact, I request everyone to at least be doing the corrected reticulocyte count percent. That gives you an idea how the marrow is functioning, because RPI is something that a normal reticulocyte takes around 1 day to mature from a reticulocyte stage to a mature RBCs, and more immature RBCs will be pumped into your circulation, then they will take a larger number of days to mature into a complete full formed RBCs. So when you take that into account, the reticulocyte lifespan, then as shown by, which is again dictated by the hematocrit, then it gives a RPI. So RPI, reticulocyte production index, is always less than the corrected reticulocyte count. And finally, the absolute reticulocyte count. This is many Coulter reports give you this. So anyway, my idea of showing this important parameter in CBC is that we should be knowing this parameter, and we should be knowing the importance of this parameter while judging the case of. Now, some of the Coulter reports are also showing immature reticulocyte fraction, which is a surrogate marker of what is something like nucleated RBCs or the absolute. Now, new Coulter machines are coming into the market and they are showing the IRF. So this is the also known as the shift reticulocyte or stress reticulocyte. So if your IRF fraction is increased, then you can say that definitely the bone marrow is responding well to the anemia. And one more important thing, there is no need to do a bone marrow examination in such patients. Many a times what we do is, patient का anemia सही नहीं होता है, they are being counseled without getting the reticulocyte count done, that would get a bone marrow examination done, तुम्हारा खून नहीं बन रहा. आयरन का ट्रायल दिया, B12 का ट्रायल दिया, रेटिकुलोसाइट काउंट उसका कभी हुआ ही नहीं, और उसके बाद उसको बोल दिया जाता है कि तुम अपना बोन मैरो टेस्ट कराओ, बिकॉज हमने ये बेसिक टेस्ट ही करना भूल गए, तो उसका फालतू में बोन मैरो टेस्ट हो जाता है. बोन मैरो टेस्ट में कुछ नहीं निकलता है, ही स्पेंड्स मनी. उसके बाद फिर आपके पास आता है कि डॉक्टर साहब हमारा इतना पैसा भी बिगड़ गया एंड डायग्नोसिस तो फिर भी हमारी कुछ बनी नहीं. So this is important to know that we should be looking on this parameters. So another important good case, a 65-year-old woman is referred for a outpatient testing by an internal medicine physician, and this is the CBC report. Now again you can see the discrepancy. The hemoglobin is 9.5, RBC count is again very low. For this HB, RBC is really low, and hematocrit there is a discrepancy. It is not following the rule of 3. The MCV is pretty elevated, it's fitting into the macrocytic anemia. The MCSC you can again see it's very high, it's above 42, it's 57.6. Red cell distribution is, width is also high. The relative reticulocyte count is 12.3, which is quite high. Absolute reticulocyte count is also. When we saw the morphology, it was showing spherocytosis, slight anisocyte, clumps of RBCs and polychromasia. Now the moment I saw this, ये फ्रेज जब मैंने देखा, क्लम्स ऑफ आरबीसीज एंड पॉलीक्रोमेजिया, मेरे दिमाग में एक ही चीज़ घूमने लगी कि आरबीसी में क्लम्स यदि बन रहे हैं ऑन अ नॉर्मल स्मीयर, डेफिनेटली वी आर डीलिंग विद एन ऑटो इम्यून हेमोलिटिक एनीमिया. इट कुड बी एनीथिंग. सो मैंने जैसे ही इसका ये क्लम्स बना, मैंने उससे फिजिशियन से कहा कि इसको सैंपल को दोबारा से हीट करके रीएनालाइज करो 37 डिग्री पे. एंड व्हाट ही सेड, लैब में उसने 37 डिग्री पे सैंपल कलेक्ट किया, बिकॉज दोज वर द विंटर डेज. उसने कहा कि अच्छा मैं प्री वार्म करके वाइल इसको फिर से सैंपल कलेक्ट करता हूँ. फिर से उसने सैंपल कलेक्ट किया और यू कैन सी 9 जो पहले इसका आरबीसी काउंट 1.5 था, जैसे ही उसने हीट किया वो आरबीसी काउंट बढ़ के 3.3 हो गया, क्योंकि सारी जो ये इस तरह की क्लम्पिंग आ रही थी, जैसे ही वो ये हीट किया ये सारे आरबीसी अलग हो गए आपस में. And and all the parameters, the MCSC also corrected out, RDW also somewhat improved, and the relative reticulocyte count also improved. So this is the actual value. You won't be acting on this value, you understand. So this By seeing this report, I just made जैसे ये temperature देखा मैंने तो it's a cold agglutination हो रहा है, मतलब ठंडे टेम्परेचर से एग्लूटिनेट हो रहा है, 60-year-old है, तो वी लेबल्ड इट एज अ कोल्ड एग्लूटिनिन डिसीज. इट्स अ टाइप ऑफ ऑटो इम्यून हेमोलिटिक एनीमिया वी सी इन एल्डरली पेशेंट्स. So these are the small tidbits which I am trying to emphasize, that how we catch the cases in a. So these are the important morphology variants. I won't be going into too much details of these, but a pathologist must be knowing the importance of this, that what are the target cell, spherocytes, ovelocytes, and every one of us should be looking for these special cell. If the pathologist is reporting that these cells are present on the peripheral smear, we should give an importance, due importance to that. Try to correlate with the patient's symptoms and history. We should not miss out on that. And isocytosis I have already discussed. I won't be going. This is the RDW, and this also I have already discussed. Now coming on to the RBC histogram. So these are the RBC histograms. You can see that this height of this is actually the MCV reflects the MCV, and the width reflects the RDW. So if there is a large splaying of this width, then it comprises that probably the patient is having a large RDW. And if the height of this is small, getting smaller, or if the curve is shifting towards the right, you can see that microcytic, the curve is shifting towards this side and right side, and that means the RBCs are going turning small. So similarly, we have some small flags. Suppose this is the, if this curve is not starting, you can see this curve should start from here, the baseline RBC histograms. But in this picture, you can see that it is not starting from here, it is starting from here. That means that there are some nucleated RBCs already present, and it is one of the telltale signs, more the schistocytes. Everyone, the pediatrician must be knowing hemolytic uremic syndrome. Many patients come to you in day-to-day practice. So what you see is the, when you see the RBC histogram plots, you see that these plot is not starting from below, it is starting above the plot. So we should be seeing all this. Similarly, the last example I showed you, the agglutination. So if I would have seen the scatter histograms, then agglutination would be shown like this on the scatter plot. So sorry, histogram. So we should be knowing these shapes and turns. I know that that's difficult for in a busy OPD practice, but as hematologists we all try to do it. So this is the common example. I shall just take 2-3 minutes more to wind up. And these are the important criteria to decide what to be done on the basis of anemia. It's basically based on the MCV, reticulocyte, and RDW. So you can see that all the categories of anemia are being categorized into 3 different categories, and we need to look into this parameters before deciding upon the therapy. Platelet parameters, I would just like to emphasize on the MPV. MPV is important because many cases of immune ITP, immune thrombocytopenia, which you see in day-to-day practice, in such cases you tend to see giant platelets on the peripheral smear, and that is reflected by mean platelet volume. So this in ITP patients, this MPV increases, so you get a higher curve of these platelets in your day-to-day practice. And this is the WBC scatter plots, and this is the WBC scatter histograms are used to detect acute leukemias. So if you see, this peak is being made by lymphocytes, followed by monocytes, and followed by neutrophils. So if you are dealing with an acute lymphoblastic leukemia, you will see a sharp peak here in this area. If you are seeing a sharp peak in this monocytic area, probably you are dealing with acute myeloid leukemia. The WBC will be raised, but you will be seeing such peaks. So I have shown these peaks into in various of my examples to determine. Probably due to lack of time, I won't be going into much detail of this problem. So this is how we pick up various cases of RBC just by looking on the WBC histogram of how to put if the peak is going down, it's a lymphocytopenia. If it is going up, then probably there's a lot of neutrophilia coming in. So this is the scenarios, different scenarios we tend to deal with day-to-day practice. So you can see with this that her HB was there's a sharp peak in this. So there is a sharp peak in this. So this is something, the WBC histogram, you can see that a lot of blasts are present in this area. By just seeing the histogram, I can say that it's probably we are dealing with acute leukemia. So the take-home message is that the CBC is one of the most vital investigation in medicine that can facilitate the clinical diagnosis. Detailed history of the patient is a must while interpreting CBC results. Be careful for technical errors in the CBC Coulter machines giving rise to erroneous reports. And systematic approach to analyzing CBC report is the key to accurate diagnosis and also determine the need for further investigating the patient. Thanks.
Lymphocytic ratio. What is the importance of that? NLR.
Neutrophil lymphocyte ratio is basically, it depicts that in all the viral infection, what happens that the lymphocyte counts dip down. There is absolute lymphocytopenia. So basically this ratio came into highlight when COVID infection was there, and lymphocytopenia was being used as a surrogate marker for severity of COVID infection. So आपका जैसे ही lymphocytopenia होता है, NLR increase हो जाता है. The more the NLR, the more lymphocytopenia is there, the more the severity of COVID infection. The main correlation. So it has come into picture. There were many papers coming from the COVID कि NLR को analyze करो and it will give you an idea that किसको आपको severe मानना है, किसको non-severe मानना है, क्या उसका final outcome से क्या correlation.
So normally it should be done in every case of fever.
Not really. I don't lay importance on NLR. मैं ज़्यादा emphasis दूंगा absolute neutrophil count देखिए आप, ANC देखिए आप, ALC देखिए, absolute lymphocyte count. NLR is a ratio, it's a calculated ratio. यदि आपका ANC कम आ रहा है, less than 1000 आ रहा है, less than 500 आ रहा है, तो it in itself is an emergency. यदि आपका more than 1500 है ANC, तो nothing to worry.
Okay. How to calculate corrected ESR from ESR? मैं ये इसलिए पूछ रहा हूँ, बहुत सारे मैंने पैथोलॉजिस्ट लोगों को मैंने लिख के भेजा, एक आदमी तो मना कर दिया कि ये तो होता ही नहीं हमारे यहाँ, एक ने पूछा ये क्या होता है. सो प्लीज टेल मी what is corrected ESR, what is normal ESR, and how to calculate corrected ESR from the ESR, from the normal ESR, and what is the importance of corrected ESR. Actually corrected ESR should be actually done in all cases.
The corrected ESR actually it is usually takes into account the hemoglobin value also. आपका because your ESR value is directly proportional to your HB.
Right.
The lower the HB, suppose एक कोई केस है आपके पास एनीमिया है और उसको ट्यूबरक्लोसिस का इन्फेक्शन भी है, सपोज पल्मोनरी ट्यूबरक्लोसिस है, दो चीज़ें साइमल्टेनियसली एग्जिस्ट कर सकती हैं. अब आपका ESR हाई आ रहा है ना, फॉर एग्जांपल, या फॉर एग्जांपल आपका मल्टीपल माइलोमा का पेशेंट है, साथ में आपका एनीमिया भी है अच्छा खासा, तो दोनों चीज़ें साथ में बढ़ी हुई आएंगी, तो उसको द करेक्टेड ESR टेक्स इनटू अकाउंट द HB विद विच यू आर एट व्हाट HB इट उस HB पे क्या ESR होना चाहिए था, उसके बाद ओवर एंड अबव कितना आ रहा है आपका. So that is important in while calculating this ESR.
Is there any formula for
Yeah, there is a formula. There is a formula. We can calculate it. Online software है.
Thank you.
I just want to have one comment that in this era of automated CBC count, we have forgotten about the general blood picture. We don't look at the GBP at all, and which could give lot of information. Any comment from the speaker? Why we have forgotten to look at the GBP?
No. GBP is something morphology only. I mentioned in my slides that after these indices and everything, the morphology, GBP is something general blood picture. So that what pathologist is making the slides and looking in the under the microscope, what is the cell morphology and labeling, because machine is one part of it. I have shown you the fallacies of the Coulter machines, that how they can give erroneous reports. But on the other hand, what pathologist is seeing is definitely the gold standard. If the pathologist is saying कि मुझे शिस्टोसाइट्स दिख रहे हैं पेरिफेरल स्मीयर में, तो I would take it 100% कि शिस्टोसाइट्स दिख रहे हैं, तो मतलब मैं HUS सोचूंगा या कोई TMA सोचूंगा, थ्रोम्बोटिक माइक्रोएंजियोपैथी सोचूंगा. तो वैसे यदि पैथोलॉजिस्ट कह रहा है कि मुझे टारगेट सेल्स दिख रहे हैं बहुत ज़्यादा, तो आई विल थिंक ऑफ कि थैलेसीमिया का डायग्नोसिस तो नहीं है कहीं, बहुत ज़्यादा टारगेट सेल दिख रहे हैं. तो दीज आर द सम थिंग्स टेलटेल साइंस. GBP इज अ सरोगेट मार्कर ऑफ मॉर्फोलॉजी, रेड सेल मॉर्फोलॉजी.
But that is the gold standard.
Yeah, definitely.
And it should be added
Yeah.
in the
all
automated reports.
So the CBC should not be ordered only CBC. You should write CBC with peripheral smear with reticulocyte count. So this should be written as a practice for all physicians while you are ordering, क्योंकि पैसे तो उतने ही लगने हैं पेशेंट के, तो CBC with peripheral smear with reticulocyte count you should order, बिकॉज आपका यदि ये आपने ऑर्डर किया है तो 1 गो में पेशेंट को, नहीं तो आप अभी CBC कराओगे, फिर कहोगे अरे यार रेटिकुलोसाइट काउंट कराना ही भूल गए, फिर दोबारा से उसको भेजोगे कि रेटिकुलोसाइट काउंट कराओ, पेरिफेरल स्मीयर भी कराओ, तो अननेसेसरली यू आर वेस्टिंग द टाइम ऑफ द पेशेंट और उसका पैसा भी वेस्ट हो रहा है. तो बेटर टू ऑर्डर इट एट इन 1 go वेन एवर यू आर ऑर्डरिंग CBC.
Thank you, Dr. Anshul. Now I request the President AMA, Dr. Subodh Jain, President-elect Dr. Kamal Singh, Dr. Ashutosh, Secretary AMA, Dr. Mohit Jain, Dr. Anurag Verma, Dr. Lalita Shukla, Organizing Secretaries, Dr. Anubhav Verma to felicitate our speaker, Dr. Anshul Gupta. Please clap for them. And to felicitate our chairperson also, Dr. Abhilasha Chaturvedi, Dr. G.V. Rai, and Dr. Banuj Mathur. Thank you everyone. Please give them a big round of applause.